Testing, testing, testing. All right, we're here to talk about play styles and how they pertain to the art of war. Well, it's a matter of knowing yourself. A part of the appraisal of understanding where I fit into the Fortnite meta is understanding my style compared to other people's styles. And to do that, you sort of have to understand what a style is. Now, let's see if this is working. Am I here yet? Here I am. All right. I got this working finally. We're going to jump into a game because might as well play while I'm yakking. Okay. The thing about styles is it's really not defined by anybody. So we're going to define it here so that you understand what I mean when I talk about play style. So to really simplify it to its most basic, play styles are defensive, offensive, and balanced. So players are generally going to be aggressive, they're going to be campers, or they're going to mix those two strategies together. And those two strategies, aggressive and defensive, are on the opposite end of the behavior spectrum, or the player style spectrum. So players who are defensive avoid contact. They avoid conflict. They avoid fights. And when they engage in a fight, their main focus, their mindset is on how to defend themselves. An aggressive player, their mindset is on conquest. They want to win. They want to overcome the opponent. And they want to seize the initiative, have the upper hand, put the opponent on their back feet, so to speak, and dominate them and enforce their strategy upon them, so to speak. Aggressive players also look for, max kills. They want max eliminations. They're usually active players. They're usually more interested in the fights than the win. Whereas the defensive player tends to be much more interested in the win than the fight. Now, the balanced player is probably in the best position here because they are able to take advantage of both options. They can play defensively and they can push if they need to. Okay, take that. I'd like to think I'm balanced, but the truth is I tend to lean far more to the defensive side just because I'm not really a great player. So that tends to put me back on my heels. So I'm going to use this opportunity here while everyone else is fighting on the drop to stockpile what I want. Because I've found that not many people tend to come to this location. I really hate to do that, but now I'm going to use this bush for a minute here to rearrange things. Oh, actually, I'm in good shape. Everything's auto-arranged. Yeah, my buddies here. Yeah, whenever you offer a sprite to a altar or whatever those things are called, the sprite now thinks that you're like its friend. It will camp right in front of you. Now, why this is important is that if you ever see a sprite sitting in a bush like this, it's probably because somebody's camping in that bush. It's a tell. So anyways, back to the subject. So I believe that a player should strive to be balanced. That a player should strive to have a defensive mindset when necessary and an offensive mindset when necessary. And the understanding or experience to be able to switch between those two modes when most appropriate. So there's a time to push and there's a time not to push, so to speak. And getting to know that can really help a player do better in terms of the game and in terms of fights. So an aggressive player will often get in trouble. They take on too many and too much and too often. And a defensive player will often be overwhelmed because they fail to take advantage of opportunities. They give up easy eliminations, and they often fail to push enough to cause another player to make a mistake. They give the other player opportunity. Whereas a balanced player wouldn't do that. You know, they would respond to each situation in a more effective manner. Now, different, like Toby-Wan Shinobi there, he has, you know, he's identified dragons and rats, and different types, personalities. But if you look at all of his styles are one style of aggressive play or another. So if you're an aggressive player, I highly recommend you go and watch Toby-Wan Shinobi's videos about play styles. If you're a camper, though, that doesn't do you a lot of good because he is not a camper. And most of his strategies don't work well for a less talented, less ambitious player. Alright, real misfortune. I'm sorry, bro. But that was an easy kill. I was able to shoot the guy in the back. I had the advantage of the bush. Make sure I'm reloaded. Waiting to see if anybody shows up to hear about the shooting. One of the reasons I thought that he would be an easy target is, oh, There's just somebody in the air. He said he was just moving in an ordinary way. He wasn't moving sporadically or erratically, pardon me. He wasn't moving erratically. And that's usually a sign that that's a more experienced player who realizes they're out in the open and wants to minimize that. And he wasn't being sneaky either. I want that gold. However, it's good bait. So normally you would never see gold just sitting there. Someone would clean it up. So most people are just going to walk over to the gold to pick it up. They're not going to look around. So really you have to look at yourself and how you play, and you have to decide whether you are defensive, aggressive, or balanced. And the reason you need to do this is you need to move towards balance in all things, but also in play styles in Fortnite. Oh, here we go again. Okay? And so self-appraisal, self-honesty. You know, most players, honestly, they're too aggressive. And they get a lot of kills, but they don't win as many games as they could. So, for most players, they need to practice a defensive style more so that when times are tight and they're really being pushed, they have better defensive skills, more experience at that. Learning how to run away. Okay, so I'm in Survivor 2 now, so that takes some of the pressure off, thank you. And I gotta move, so I might as well do that. Now, the real question here is, well, you know, I'd love to have that med kit, but see, for instance, cars. Cars are great, don't get me wrong. But you can hear them a long ways away. Oh, and I just leveled up. Simple. I think it's time to use one of these. Thank you. Getting better at those. Found my thrill. Get a Bush on Blueberry Hill. Now I'm just waiting here. I don't really want to engage. I've got 6 more players before I get excited about, oh, and I got zone. Okay, and I got vehicles here, so I'm in a good spot to wait out until the end game, top 10. So you have to look at your style of play, and you have to push towards balance. If you're too aggressive, you have to learn to pace yourself, not get in every fight, choose your fights more, choose your positioning more, rotate maybe a little less, strive for the win. If you're a defensive player, you have to strive to be a little more aggressive, to push more often, to explore territory, to move more than you might, to move sooner than you might. Most of all, try not to get set back in fights. Both strategies, both playstyles, benefit from not starting fights but finishing them. Okay, so some rules apply to all playstyles. Alright. One more and I'm in the top 10. And then I can switch my style from defensive to balanced. Okay. So now I'm assured of some placement. So this changes the dynamics. I no longer have to worry about losing position in the pool or in the ranking or in the tournament. Now I can afford to be a little pushier. Somebody stole one of my cars. You bastard! Oh well. Wasn't mine. That's okay too. I'm not sure I have to move. And I do believe there's another car here anyways. Yep. No, I need to watch for people running out of the storm here. The back door. For 2 reasons. One is if you can get them running out of the storm, they may be very weak and it might be an easy elimination. And 2, you don't really want anybody behind you. Part of this strategy here of camping or playing defensively is limiting the number of avenues of attack you're facing. So now, I don't have to worry about what's behind me. I just have to worry about what's ahead of me. That's half as much to worry about. Okay, and I gotta go in 30 seconds. Now the car is tempting because I can get to this back side here. And I'm in the top 10, top 5 almost. So a nice car trip would be good. So we're gonna do that. Oh, nice. Okay, now the other thing the car allows me to do at this point is to get to that last fight. And to get the high ground. Oh, look. Oh, bullshit. See, that's why you can't play this game. It's not fair. I went from 200. Oh, man. I don't even want to talk about that. Okay. That's it for me.